All right, y'all. What's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another prediction video. All right, y'all. Y'all know I'm looking forward to this one. Sabina Mazo versus Miranda Maverick. Shout out to Miranda Maverick. She's stepping in as a late replacement as well. She's stepping in for Mandy Bohm. Mandy Bohm had to pull out of her fight, so in comes Miranda Maverick. She's ready to get back in action. She's been calling for a fight, and she says she wants to fight as soon as possible. So boom, she's stepping in for Sabina. She's stepping in for Mandy Bohm against Sabina Mazo. Now, this here, this fight let's not kid ourselves. This fight is a must win for both fighters, even more so, like I said, than the previous fight. That's more of a statement making type of matchup. This is a must win for Mazo and Maverick. Both fighters are on 2 fight losing streaks right now. Didn't look good at all in their last, either one in their last fight, their last performance. So they got to look good in this one, because whoever loses is going to be a three fight losing streak. So they got to go in there and give it their all. Technically, also with the heart and the dog in this fight. Sabina Mazo in her last performances against Alexis Davis, she was completely dominated, outworked, just out wrestled everything. Then Maria Agapova, I picked Mazo to win that fight, but she was completely outgunned and outclassed, outstruck, just beat up until finally Agapova just finished her off with a head kick. It was a straight right hand. I think it was a right hand or left hand. She caught her as she was coming in, good counter, and just dropped her, and she went in and choked her out. So it was just like, wow, like Agapova just made, Mazo look like she didn't belong in the UFC. Let's be honest, right? And you also saw how Agapova looked in her last fight against Marina Moreau. So Mazo, she has a lot, she has a lot riding on this fight, as does Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick, she's 2-2 right now in the UFC. I know we could argue 3-1 because the Macy Barber fight doesn't really count, but on paper it's still an L, right? And it's still going to be 3 L's in a row. The Aaron Blanchfield fight, I thought Miranda would have went in there, and just out grappled and showed her strength and even used her striking a little bit in that fight. But she was completely outgunned on the ground, against Aaron Blanchfield. Aaron Blanchfield's cold blooded. So in this fight here, I think we're going to have almost like a classic striker versus grappler, like the Aldridge Robertson fight. So I think in this one here, Mazo, number one, she's got to break that chain of being a slow starter. Mazo has got to let her hands go a little bit more. So number one for her basically is to let her hands go. Mazo's got to let her hands go and let her kicks go early. Especially when you're the taller, longer fighter in this one, you just can't sit back like she did against Justine Keech and hope and pray that the head kick will land in the third round. No, you got to let your shots go early. You got to establish your jab, keep the center of the octagon, don't go chasing. You got to establish calf kicks. You got to let ones and twos and threes go. Just can't let singles go hoping that hurts your opponent. So that's the one thing I want to see her do. Let her hands go. Number two, keep this fight standing with those long kicks to the body. You got to throw those front kicks to the body in this. Front kicks to the body, that's how you sap the shorter fighters' energy and keep them from coming in on the inside. Number three, got to get the finish. I think number three, she's got to get the finish in this one. Mazo has to get a finish. She's got to erase the memory of her last 2 fights, which this win won't necessarily do that. Even if let's say if she does win, it won't necessarily do that because we'll still remember, okay, this is what she looked like against Agapova, right? And what she looked like against the wrestler Alexis Davis. But at least it'll put her in the right direction to build her confidence. So I think she really does need a finish in this one just for, the flyweight division and fans to take her seriously again, as well as the UFC. For Miranda Maverick, going into this fight here, like I said, I'm a fan of Miranda, and I think she has well-roundedness about her, but I just think right now it's about focus. I think she really needs to focus hard. She's doing a lot of things. I respect that, but when it comes down to, getting to that elite level, like the Valentinas, even the Manones that's rising up now, it takes a lot. I know it takes a lot. I know they can say, "Oh, we saying that from behind the mic," but I do know. And I think Miranda Maverick in this one, she has the intellect, she has the IQ, she has a lot of tools, no matter the size of the opponent. So I think the number one thing she needs to do in here, of course, is use her strength, which would be her wrestling. I think you need to close, first of all, number one, you need to close distance on the taller, longer fighter. Close that distance. Don't stay on the end of these long shots like Marina Moreau did against Agapova. Close that distance early. Then, you got to wrestle. She's definitely got to use her wrestling against Sabina Mazo. Just like Alexis Davis did, take her to the cage, pin her to the cage, and work her. Dirty box. You got to work that body. Take her off her balance. I know she's one of those Muay Thai fighters that likes to throw those those big shots and big knees on the inside, but don't let her get the tie clinch. You know, I got to see Maverick pin her to the cage, control those wrists, land her own knees to the body, use those shoulder bumps until, boom, she can get her down and just outwork her using that wrestle. So it's got to be an in-close, dirty fight. You got to close distance and work that inside. Number 3, when she gets it to the ground, she needs a finish as well. I think Miranda Maverick, she's got to go in there and get a submission win because I don't see her stopping Mazo on the feet. She could probably stop her with ground and pound on the ground, but I got to see Miranda Maverick go in there and show that skill, show that jiu-jitsu again. We got to erase memories of the last couple fights. We got to see her get a big finish. She hasn't got a finish since her first fight against Liana Jojua. So this fight got to go down to the ground all the way from Maverick. You got to drown Mazo. Got to drown her just like Alexis Davis did. Use that wrestling, beat her up on the cage, and get that submission win. Get that submission win that you know how. She's a brown belt BJJ. We got to see it. We got to see it in this fight. Got to make that statement. Look, I'm saying that as a fan, but I'm also saying that just as somebody who wants to see some good fights and see some fighters that have the intellect to make it, So, yeah, man, those are my keys to victories for both fighters. With that being said, once again, this is a 50-50 fight. It really is because you have two fighters that could either have something taken away from them after losing 2 times in a row. Their will could be a little bit broken, or they could be very dangerous, like Tisha Torres coming back after a losing streak, or Andrea Lee coming back after a losing streak. Like when they come back, they're dangerous, right? When those fighters come back, they're dangerous. So I think this could be 50. I think it's 50-50. I think it could be just danger versus danger here. Both of these fighters are going to be looking for a finish. They're going to be looking to dominate with their disciplines. So Miranda Maverick, she's got to keep her chin tucked. She's got to keep her hands high. Watch out for the head kicks. For Sabina Mazo, she's got to watch out, for those takedowns. And I do see Miranda Maverick getting this fight down to the ground. I'm not going to lie. Like, with Sabina Mazo being a slow starter, Miranda Maverick is not a slow starter. That's how she beat Macy Barbermeyer. She got to work in early in those rounds, right? In all her wins. But I think Sabina Mazo is a slower starter here. So with her trying to size up Miranda just need to close distance early and get this fight down. She just need to close it early, beat her up on the inside, pin her to the cage like Moreau did Agapova, get that tripping takedown, and just control until she can find the submission or just beat her opponent into submission. And I think she can do that. So I'm going with Miranda Maverick in this one by decision, though. I don't know if she will get that full-on finish, but if she does, it'll probably come in the 3rd round, I think. I think she's going to be able to wear down Mazo if it stays on the ground. If Mazo's not able to get back up, she'll probably finish her on the ground with some ground and pound or a submission. But overall, I think my pick in this one, I'll go with Miranda Maverick by unanimous decision. I think she has more tools. She's a faster starter. And I think she just has the IQ to switch it up and adjust. Even, no matter how big or tall the opponent is going into this one, also factoring in that Mazo's more of a stand-up fighter, unlike, how Blanchfield was, that was just like, oh, man, that style matchup was horrible for her. But I think Sabina Mazo, with her depending more on her feet here, Maverick's going to go in with the mindset to say, I got to get the fight down. I got to get the fight down to the ground, and that's where she can win it. So I'm going with Miranda Maverick, guys. Let me know who y'all got in the comment section. Mazo Maverick, is it a must-win? Yes or no? What do you think happens to the loser? What do you think happens to the winner? Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.